to see him. Furious at the sight of him, Jake asked if his friend had set him up, but Adam denied it. Richard confirmed the young man's words. He knew nothing. He could not count on Adam his plans. Adam immediately realized that his companion had actually been a traitor. She tried to apologize, but he was completely enraged at having been deceived. If he had listened to the stories, he would have doubted Jake as well. Everyone had been saying he was a monster. He had heard everything they were saying about him, yet he had chosen to trust his friend. But this mediocre woman had chosen to trust others instead. Richard ordered Jake to come with him so they could resolve this situation. If he had done nothing wrong, they could put everything behind him. He could even forget that Jake had killed his archer when they first met. With his instincts sharpened, Jake could sense the malice in this man. He was absolutely certain that he was lying. He ordered him to tell his men to leave. Only then could they have a conversation. Adam had not realized there were other people there. Hayden revealed himself along with his men, praising the hunter's skills. Both of them had been working together on this little project. The whole meeting had been a trap, and Adam felt completely loose. They were surrounded on all sides. Jake was furious for allowing himself to be cornered like that. Richard said he would only ask one more time. He wanted to know if the archer would surrender. Jake had no idea what to do. There was no escape route. Hayden had already lost his patience and decided to cast his spell. A blazing fireball was launched straight at the archer. A massive explosion followed, but he had managed to dodge it. As soon as he landed back on the ground, he fired his first arrow. It whistled through the air, heading straight for his target. But the mage was able to conjure a shield. Richard ordered the warriors to stay back. Meanwhile, the elder instructed the mages to surround the target. Placing their hands on the ground, they began preparing a large spell. Jake felt the earth beneath him breaking apart. This situation was definitely terrible. Hayden declared that Jake would not escape this time, launching another attack. A massive explosion erupted. Jake had vanished as if he had teleported, reappearing on the broken tree stump. Adam pleaded with Richard to stop the attack, but for the stubborn man, this was the only way. He tried talking to the woman he could no longer trust, hoping she would do something. At this rate, they would end up hurting their own comrade. Caroline said there was nothing she could do now. The archers were already preparing another wave of arrows, and the mages showed no sign of stopping their attacks. Their goal was to wear Jake down. They should use everything they had to bring him down. Richard also encouraged his men to do the same. Inside the pendant, Cecil was growing extremely worried. His friend needed to get out of there immediately. There was not much he could do. Too many attacks to dodge. And one of the mages was blocking his ability to move through the shadows. The noose was tightening, and he could not use his teleportation. That was when he noticed that one of his feet was already trapped. The situation was getting worse by the second. Richard commanded the archers to fire. Arrows soared through the air. Jake could not evade all of them. One struck him. Another pierced through his leg. The young man was now wounded and completely immobilized. He screamed furiously, demanding to be free. Richard prepared to finally end his life. Adam desperately tried to do something to save his friend. Cecil was also in a panic as the event. Standing over him, Richard declared that it was all about to end. Jake struggled to break free from his bindings, but he had no strength left. The sword was about to become very familiar with his neck. Jake was almost ready to accept his fate. There was nothing he could do in that situation, even after all the battles he had won, or the monsters he had slain along the way. He had not been able to overcome a betrayal. He only hoped that someone would find the pendant and free him inside it, because it seemed that he had intended. Then suddenly, the system announced that he had unlocked Primal Hunter's Moment of Bloodline ability. He looked at the message, not understanding anything, but he had undergone a human evolution. Feeling his body changing, he had no idea what was happening. His heart was beating faster and faster. His instincts were taking control of his body. That single moment he was experiencing stretched into an eternity. Now he could sense all the mana around him. It was as if an immense pool was filling inside his core. And now there was only one thing he could do. Let all that power find its way out. A shockwave erupted, blasting the fools away from him. Richard was among those Jake roared, his body onlookers could only stare at what was happening. Hayden began to suspect it might be some kind of magic. Jake was now able to break free from his restraints. Finally, he stood up. Adam was astonished by what he was witnessing, but he no longer knew what his friend had become. Caroline, who at this point should be banned from having an opinion, was now fully convinced of the rumors about Jake. He really had become a monster. Richard told them not to be afraid. One man alone could not be a match for all of them, ordering his men to attack immediately. A small army of expendable fighters Jake slowly unsheathed his daggers. He took a deep breath to regain his composure.
Mit Booking.com geht's so einfach von zu Hause ins Ferienhaus. Für Transparenz ohne versteckte Gebühren buche auf Booking.com.
Zeit für neue Reifen. Jetzt 60 € Cashback bei Premium-Sicherheit.
His movements were so fast, they were barely visible. The first grunt had already received his ticket to the afterlife. The second had also been granted a seat on the same train. The third did not even realize his chest had been sliced open. All of this had happened so quickly. They were only now realizing that there were no well men in the living. Seeing that he was next in line to die, one of them ordered his men to form a defensive line. Expendable soldiers armed with swords and shields led the way to command. Jake, however, passed over them without any difficulty. Carrying vials of poison with him, he dropped each one on the extras. They were severely affected by that poison. They began to suffer from the effects of that substance while the struck his royal pose. The poison was truly powerful. The men